Hi, I'm Kelly Vaughn with Wireless Dealer Magazine here at CTIA 2010, and I'm sitting with Andy Hollenbach from Root Wireless. Hi, Andy.
Hi, how are you?
Great. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about who Root Wireless is?
Sure. Root Wireless is a new data company. We actually gather data from consumer handsets, and we help consumers make better decisions in terms of the types of smartphones and carriers that they should select when they're in the market in retail stores.
Great. Now, what is different about Root's coverage information compared to carrier-provided materials?
So typically, carrier-provided materials for coverage are based on propagation maps or optimal conditions from the towers that are casting the signal. Root's very different insofar as we actually collect data from smartphones themselves, from the devices, and then we compile that data into metrics to help determine what the actual coverage is on a smartphone.
Okay, now when you talk about instrumental test equipment, what's the difference between user device data and other crowdsourced data?
Yeah, so crowdsourced is kind of interesting. It's a big term that's been bandied about quite a bit lately. The notion is that you would take the crowd, a bunch of end users, for example, and information that they're providing as the basis for your metrics. What Root does is actually to put software onto a consumer smartphone and aggregate that data. So it's actually user device generated data as compared with something that would be subjective like Andy's opinion here or there.
Okay, how often does Root Mobile test?
Typically run a duty cycle as it's programmed on the phone several times per hour. The user can also push a button, for example, and decide to run a network test right then at that moment whenever they like to.
Now, what's the biggest benefit of Root data?
Well, it depends if it's a retailer. By using Root data and the coverage match service for retail stores, the biggest advantage is that you're going to reduce churn for your customers, for your consumers, meaning you'll have less returns and cancellations from the carrier contracts, so you get less chargebacks essentially from your commissions. Now, if you're a customer, you obviously get an awful lot better satisfaction. You get choice. You can compare between, for example, Sprint and T-Mobile or AT&T and Verizon. So you really get an awful lot more real data to choose from instead of just hoping for the best and who has the best coverage or the fastest network.
Okay, now how is it that you make this information available?
So it's typically in the form of interactive mapping controls. Most people are familiar with Google Maps if you were looking to get directions from one place to another. Root has a similar underlying data structure, and we actually put signal strength and data speeds, connection types, whether it's 2G or 3G, upload speed as well as download speed. We just overlay that on a map control. You can enter in a specific address and understand then what the coverage heuristics would be for that phone, the specific data. Or you can zoom in and just move the map around according to where you'd like to see what's the coverage here.
What are personal pages?
Do you really want me to tell?
Yes, I really want to know. What are personal pages?
Personal pages are found on a website. It's called mytruecoverage.com. It's a website of Root Wireless. You can go to rootwireless.com and actually click on the link to mytruecoverage.com. It allows you or me to zero in and actually see what's the coverage on my phone. So for example, I could use my BlackBerry Tour, and from where I live, where I work, where my school is, I could actually go in and see what's the coverage and the performance been like on this specific device, on my phone.
I think that's something I really want to see on my phone. Okay, how can retailers sign up for Coverage Match?
It's quite simple. We have a pilot going on right now where actually retailers will save half the implementation fees. You can very simply send an email to info@Root Wireless. They can go to our website and see rootwireless.com WAC Retail Advisor Pilot. So either way, again, it's info@rootwireless.com is probably the easiest way. We'll respond back then very quickly and get in touch with someone right away.
Okay, now how is it everyone can get in touch with you?
Personally?
Or for the company?
So for the company, the email is really probably the best way. Rather than give out a phone number, if you send us an email, we can get back with you and frankly manage the volume of inquiries that we've had.
Why don't you give the website again?
Okay. It's info@Root Wireless. It's ROOT wireless.com.
Great. Thank you so much, Root Wireless. And I'm Kelly Vaughn with Wireless Dealer Magazine.